Welcome to the Shellonomics Podcast, your source for pure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entertainment, presented by King Mictus.
All right, guys, we are diving back into the comic book realm of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe. We are joined by our good friend Christian, TMNT Dare Talk. Now, Christian, before we get started, you and I would say Simon Rich and Justin Cooper from Epic Tales from the Source are probably the three biggest comic book fans I know. So I wanted to ask you, how do you actually read a comic book? If you're reading on Kindle or the comic book, is it different? And how long do you take? Because do you live in the moment? Are you so appreciative of just, even when they're, we did the black and whites not too long ago, just do you appreciate the artwork? Do you stare at the page for a bit? Do you blaze through your first read? What goes through your mind, and tell us the process of how you read a comic.
Good question. Nowadays, I gotta say, when a new comic comes out, like it's Wednesday, new TMNT comics are out, I always try to check them out digitally, so I can read them on a computer, as you know, Comixology and stuff like that, to get it from there. And when I read it the first time, I really try to get everything. I check out the art, I read the comic, I try to get every little detail there, okay, maybe some Easter eggs or anything. And so I try to really get into it. I mean, but still the comics nowadays with 20 pages, it takes, let it be 20 minutes for a good read. And later, when I reread them, just for example, when I'm gonna do a podcast about it, I'm gonna rush more through it. Okay, so that was that. Okay, so that I get more into the story and to, how should I put it, memorize it more, what's happening in the comic. So I would say that. But also later on, I still try to get everything in physical form, like in the comic, because I love to have a comic in my hand. So yes, when they come out, I read them digitally, but unfortunately, there is no comic book shop nearby, so I have to order them online. So I always do every 2 or 3 months, I get them all together in big package. I order a big package of TMNT comics for the collection, and then I reread them again and holding them in hand. It's just a different feel for me. I need this.
Yeah. Do you ever bring these comics? Do you ever read when you're traveling with family, friends, or work? If it's a public commute or if you're riding on an airplane?
Oh, I remember when I was a kid and we were going on vacation, I always took some TMNT comics and TMNT figures with me. I had the Archie comics, the TMNT Adventure comics, and I was reading them over and over and over again. And I took them even on vacation to, at night, just, one more comic I'm going to read, before going to sleep. I did that. Nowadays, not as much, I got to say. Well, at least not the TMNT comics, because they, I want to keep them in good shape, Yeah. So, but I take other comics and books and a manga with me when I'm on vacation or something, if I want to read something. Yeah,
no, exactly. That's the way I usually, pretty cool you brought your figures with too. You're kind of like Andy from Toy Story there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I still have pretty much all the figures from back then, and you can really tell, okay, these are a little bit more beat up than the later ones, because these I took them on vacation and was swimming with them in the pool and stuff like that. Yeah, you know it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, especially the Donatello that had his legs. He was the one that they encouraged you to play in the tub with.
The swimming Donatello.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites. So, feel free to explain to those who are hearing about Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the first time, explain, where the origin came from, and also, I guess why you recommend people read these, because I've had fun reading them. First off, we get color, and feel free to clue us in on how this came to be.
Well, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a comic book series by Mirage Comics, and they had 2 volumes. The first volume started in 1987, and one thing I gotta mention is that I know the reprints by IDW, they are in color, but originally these comics were in black and white, as well as the original comics from Mirage, you know, the one we read in the Ultimate Collection.
Yes.
So yeah, everything black and white back then. It was the standard for TMNT comics, I gotta say. So yeah, they because it was the thought was back then when they started the first volume was that there was always a gap between issues because there was so much going on back then. I mean, 1987, the cartoon was starting, and there was the action figures. It was all such a big thing. So Eastman and Laird, they really had trouble keeping up with the comic. So they like created Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as like a sister series to the regular TMNT comics. So like when there was one month was a regular TMNT comic, next month was Tales, then it was regular TMNT comic, then it was Tales. So they had at least one comic each month coming out, so there would be not that big gaps, because if you remember when we were talking about the original comics, there were like sometimes there were gaps of 3 or 4 months between issues. And they tried to fill these gaps with the Tales series. Well, the first series only went up to issue number 7, but they restarted the series in 2004 with volume 2 of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because, well, they pretty much had the same problem. That was when volume 4 of the Mirage Comics was running, and they had the same problem that only every other month comic came out. So like, okay, let's do Tales again so that every month a TMNT comic comes out. So there are not that big of gaps back then. And can say we're not going to talk about all of these comics, but volume 2 ran up to issue number 70 and was one of the longest running series of TMNT comics like ever. So yeah, it had a really, really good run back then. And yeah, I think that's it. And we're going to see that a lot of these stories like introduce main characters that are playing a bigger role later on. And a lot of them were also adapted into 2003 cartoon. So yeah, that's Tales of the TMNT.
Yeah, guys, so buckle up. And just real quick then, thanks for pointing out for me again, I didn't read the Tales back in the day, that they were black and white. And I'm pretty sure this is a rhetorical question for you and probably most fans who are fans of the original comics. You know, this is kind of similar comparing, you know, It's a Wonderful Life and the Three Stooges when they threw them out in color. It was always some backlash because people would rather have the black and white. So did it bother you? Did it not bother you? Just which one do you prefer, the black and white or the color?
Well, as I always say, the black and white, it always feels so, should I put it, kind of nostalgic. So like these are the old originals, the black and white, the underground comics, you know. But there are some parts and some stories where I'm really glad when I look at the colored version that IDW put out. Like, okay, this gives them so much more, because in black and white sometimes it's a little bit harder to like tell what's going on or who turtle is who. I mean, the turtles here in Mirage Comics universe, they all wear red bandanas, but still in color it's easier to separate them. It's like, okay, that's Michelangelo, that's Donatello. In black and white it's sometimes a little bit harder, so it really helps. The color really helps a lot of the times. I mean, not everything, because there are some parts where like the coloring is kind of weird, because maybe if you remember in the original comic, when, for example, Renette appeared in the original TMNT number 8,
yes,
on the cover, she was wearing blue clothes. Her clothes were blue, and she was shown like in blue clothes all the time. But when IDW did the recoloring, suddenly she had like red cloth, and that was kind of weird. It's like, no, it was supposed to be blue. I don't know why they did some of the stuff. So some of the coloring is kind of weird, but I gotta say, for most of the part, it really works. It's really done well. And yeah, as I said, for some stories, it really helps for the understanding and to see more of the story for when it was only black and white, for example.
Oh, a great response to that question. So we're gonna hear this catchphrase a lot. Apparently, we in wrestling we always have those. That's the bottom line, or Jim Carrey in Living Color. Let me show you something. So the line of this series is, "Let me tell you a story." And as Christian walks you guys into the first one, my God, what a phenomenal first page! And take it away with issue number 1.
Yeah, as I said, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that was also like a running gag, like the first page, the splash page. You open up the comic and you see like a character or a turtle, like introducing you to a comic, like, there's some stories out there that we're going to tell you. And it always ends with the sentence, "Let me tell you a story." And then the real story starts. It's like, yeah, this is Tales. This is how it should work. So yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 1. Which came out in 1987. The first story, I can say from the start that this story was adapted into the season 4, episode 1, the Cousin Sid story, when the Turtles went to Northampton and had trouble with Cousin Sid. It's the same story pretty much. The Turtles are in Northampton, and then suddenly Cousin Sid, Casey's cousin, appears with some bad guys, and they because Sid thinks that Casey's and his grandpa hid a treasure at the farm, and he wants the money. So he holds Casey and April as hostage. All the while, the Turtles, sneaky little ninjas that they are, take out all the bad guys until only Sid is left, and Casey fights with Sid until Casey realizes what Sid is talking about, because it was like always, his grandpa always said X marks the spot, and then Casey's like, wait a minute, we had a dog named Spot back then. And then when they buried him, they had like this little stone in the wall of the farm, and it looked like a gravestone, and behind that both find like this little box, and like, oh, this is the money. But then they find out that because it was money from a train robbery, that their grandma donated all the money, so there was no money there, and it was all for nothing. And well, Casey gets a good laugh out of it. Sid is really frustrated, and that's pretty much the end of that story.
Yeah, good way to start it off too, though. It's a great way. Again, Casey, and like you say, it sets the tone for where this is going to go. They're more pretty much one-off short stories, just a little for those like us, like yourself and I, who just can't get enough Ninja Turtles. Here you go, enjoy. And these are some real fresh takes. And again, most of these, I'm pretty sure I'm right. None of these were really done by Eastman and Laird, right? Not many.
Pretty much. I mean, they were involved in all of them, in the first volume at least. Okay. But mostly of them were drawn like by Jim Lawson and Ryan Brown. But so yeah, it's like I said, like they had, okay, we have to keep up with all the turtle stuff. So like other guys, like, okay, we're gonna tell a tale. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, they were involved, but most of the stuff, I gotta say, like the drawings and so, they were done by Jim Lawson and Ryan Brown in the first volume.
Oh, fantastic. And how did you like how they looked? I thought that they were a little bit smaller to me, but I thought they were okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're like, they were like a little, have a little, how should I put it, like a little redesign inside the universe. How every artist has his own style.
Right, and that's the way it should be. Yeah, and I had no problem with it at all. And like I said, I actually, this was the first time I actually found out about these guys, was thanks to you and a couple other friends who recommended what we break down here next time, Shallonomics. And I enjoy the color. I'll have to just give a view to the black and white, just because I did like that for the black and white collection. But yeah, I enjoyed the color here, and it's cool seeing all the turtles in red. It makes me think of that Nintendo, game, even though that's from the comics, the image of the original Nintendo with all four of them with the red bandanas, the way they were in the original comics. Coming up next, my good man, we have Nobody's Fool.
Yeah, which is Tales of the TMNT number 2, which is the introduction of a character that we know. Nobody. The Turtles, they run into him because, as we remember, Nobody is like this vigilante superhero guy, pretty Batman-like, who is a cop, but at night he dons a costume all in black with a long cape, and he goes after some bad guys. And in this story, this is the first time the Turtles run into him, and he goes after some arms dealers, and the Turtles help him stop these arms dealers, and yeah, that's actually pretty much the story. It's a lot of action there, and I think it's cool that in the end, yeah, and that was the story of Nobody, and the Turtles say, hey, was that his name? He never said. So he never said his name, so now he's Nobody. And I really liked how he got his name. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it gives you more appreciation because, like you say, this character was also in the 2003 series, for those who are unaware, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's the same one, yeah.
Perfect. All right, well, the number 3 is you'll be breaking down, but this wonderful line I wrote down in this one coming up in number 3 is, there's nothing that can't be beaten. If anybody ever needs some motivation, I don't know what's going to motivate you more than that line.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a nice little Halloween story, All Hallows Eve. In the story, we meet the King of Thieves, who is this guy who comes to New York, and he steals this little statue from April's antique shop, the thieving god idol, and because he knows some magic, the Turtles, they want to stop him, but then he calls forth some little creatures like goblins, gremlins, stuff like that, and the Turtles, they really have to fight these creatures until the thieving god idol comes to life, becomes this gigantic 4-armed super monster, and the Turtles have to confront that. So it's really Turtles against giant monster. Always a cool fight, until the Turtles throw him off a building, and big explosion in the end, and it gets destroyed. The King of Thieves gets arrested, and the policemen think the Turtles are just weird kids in costume. So go on, it's Halloween, have some fun, kids. And yeah, that's the end of that story. A nice little Halloween story.
Yeah. Did you ever, you've got to be so appreciative just because you are the horror guy here. You love anything to do with horror. Halloween season's coming up in a couple weeks. Is that just like the icing on the cake for you being a Turtles fan? Anytime you see horror, it's yes, this is two of my favorite worlds combining.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. As long as they don't overdo it. As we talked about the 2012 show, I always appreciated this callbacks to horror movies and stuff like that. I know what you're doing there. Kids, they don't get it, but as adults, that's Friday the 13th and so on and so forth. This is just, I love this stuff. It's really some creepy crawly stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we get some random dialogue here, and probably one of the more cooler tales that we'll get here is number 4 with one of our favorite characters of all time in the Ninja Turtle verse. Ain't that right there, Christian?
Oh, for me, absolutely. Which is, the story is called I, Monster, and it is the introduction of the Rat King. Because the Turtles, they are checking out this old factory building, and there lives a character who I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the Rat King, and in this version, this is the original version of the Rat King. This is the first introduction of the Rat King, and he's totally mysterious. You don't know where he comes from. You don't know who or what he really is, because he suddenly just appears and he's all bandaged up and he's like, I'm a monster, I'm a creature. And Turtle's like, well, you're just a crazy guy. So is it only that? Is he only just a crazy guy, or is there more behind it? Maybe we will find out later. But for this story, Turtles run into him, and he's just crazy, sends these rats after the Turtles. Turtles fights rats, and in the end, like the Rat King is standing on top of this smokestack, and Leonardo throws a shuriken at him, and he falls down the building. And we see in the last moment, like, he is there sitting on the ground, and he's like, "For I am the Rat King. Everything fears me. Everything except the rats." And we see all these rats around him, and well, we know what's happening to him because we already read City at War together, that, well, he did not get out of there. He died because later on Splinter finds his skeleton. So, yeah, he died there and probably was eaten by the rats. So,
yeah. And this is
gruesome, I gotta say.
Yep, and then they still find ways to throw some humor in there because Donatello, for some reason, wanted to talk like Fred Flintstone. I wrote down, Donnie says, "Yabba dabba doo." I never thought that's a good. That's some good trivia right there for somebody. Who has said "Yabba dabba doo"? I know Mikey says it a little bit in the old cartoons, and they say don't finish it, but here he says it all the way. So I thought that was great, and I also agree. Just a bone-chilling line. Can you imagine if they actually said that in the cartoons? I am the Rat King. Everything fears me. Everything except the rats. Well delivered, too, man. You could be a great narrator and reader for some comics like Justin does. You got a phenomenal voice and nice bone-chilling way to describe it. But from a lighter, the darker side to a little bit of a lighter side with a whole bunch of superheroes coming up in Tale number 5.
Yeah, it's complete carnage and radical. In this story, if you remember when we were reading the short stories, there was a short story where Raphael and Casey Jones run into, Carnage and Radical. The two, one of them is a superhero, one of them is a super bad guy, and in the end, Radical threw Carnage into the direction of the North Pole. But this is like the continuation of that short story. Complete Carnage comes back. He's got the power to control man-made structures like road and walls and stuff like that, like stones. And we find out that both of them, Radical and Complete Carnage, were both hit by some mysterious lightning, which gave them their superpowers. And there are like two sides of the same coin. They always have to fight their arch nemesis. And the Turtles, they get thrown into this battle and they try to help Radical. And, well, in the end, Radical is able to use her, what was it called? The particle beam, his super mega beam attack, which destroyed Complete Carnage, but also destroyed herself. So they're both gone for now. And, well, that's pretty much the end of that story. Cool, just a battle between super beings and Turtles there in the middle of this. You get to realize that most of these comic stories, they're like something crazy is going on and the Turtles, they get thrown into it. It's like, okay, it's not like they're looking for trouble or looking for bad guys to defeat. They're like, okay, we're just minding our business and suddenly they're superheroes. It's cool. I like it.
And this will be the only one I mentioned, but just like we talked about too, you got me to keep an eye out. These are the hidden Mickeys of the Ninja Turtleverse. A Chet sighting was here too, so even these writers were having fun throwing Chets in there every now and then. So just fun little things like that, like you say, just to keep you on your toes when you're reading for your Easter eggs there, hardcore comic readers. Number 6 has another one of my favorite characters of all time coming into play here.
Yeah, the comic is called Leatherhead, so you know who is coming. This is also just with the same with the Rat King. It is the introduction of Leatherhead, and there's the big time hunter guy, Marlin, who heard about like a mysterious alligator living in the sewers, and he wants to hunt it. So he goes into the sewers, but first he runs into the turtles, and he's like, "Whoa, 4 giant turtles! I want to have them!" And he starts hunting them, and then all of them run into Leatherhead, a giant mutant alligator, who we find out was found by the Utroms as a baby alligator and was by accident mutated. And when the Utroms, they disappeared, they like beamed away from Earth, he was left behind, unfortunately. And so he tries to get back to the Utroms. But as I said, Turtles and Leatherhead, they are hunted by Marlin. And, well, there's a big showdown there. And, well, in the end, Marlin falls down a cliff underground and probably to his death. And, well, the turtle's like, "Okay, Leatherhead, if you don't know where to live, you can take our old lair. It's empty." So Leatherhead's like, "Cool, we are friends, we are good." So, yeah, so that's our introduction to Leatherhead. Big, hulking alligator, but a peace-loving one. He's totally cool. He's fine for now. So, yeah, nice little introduction to our favorite alligator mutant.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed that one a lot. And I also had to say, too, just a quick back check is the Rat King looked fantastic in color in this one. So I get what you were saying, too, in regards to sometimes the color is actually appreciative over the black and white. 'Cause he looked so good in that issue we just covered. Coming up, though, is Lucky number 7 with some really cool disguises for the Turtles in this one. I enjoyed the disguises they had here.
Yeah, this is like Tales of the TMNT number 7, which is the final issue of the first series, which is the return of Savante Romero. And yeah, it shows us the return of Savante Romero, who was, as we remember, in the last time we saw him in issue number 8 of the first series, he was banished to prehistoric times. And, well, through some magic, he, like, calls the turtles or mocks the turtles like, "Come to me, fight me, or I will destroy everything." And, well, then Renette reappears, and the turtles and Renette travel to prehistoric times, to dinosaur times, which, I mean, this really so funny because, like, the turtles, they argue like, "Okay, so Savante Romero says that he will destroy everything, but he's in the past, so we are still here, so nothing ever happens, so why should we go back in time if nothing happens?" And like, Renette does not get any of this, like, forget it, time travel is confusing. So they go to the dinosaur times, turtles fight dinosaurs, Savante Romero attacks the turtles with dinosaurs, like he's riding a T-Rex and so on and so forth, and he steals the time scepter from Renette, and he's trying to do some magic ritual which will throw off the Earth of its axis, so the meteorite that will destroy the dinosaurs will not hit Earth. So, like, he will completely change history, and the turtles will never be born, and well, pretty much nobody will ever be born the way. It's crazy. But in the end, Savante Romero gets hit by this magic lightning, and, well, gets apparently destroyed. But the turtles, we see at the end that they don't have the time scepter anymore because it fell down with Savante. It's like some month pass, and the turtles, they're dressed like cave turtles. But then they find this time scepter again because some giant fish swallowed it. And so now they have a way to get back to their present time. And yeah, that's the end of that story.
Yeah, like you say, that's the end of book number 1. The next one we're going to be breaking down for you guys, grab onto something. We've got some scary, deep craziness involving Shredder in a couple of these here. So feel free to start us whenever you're ready with the next one.
So yeah, we're getting into Volume 2 of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which started in 2004. So yeah, there was a big gap between these Tales stories. It was like, what was it? 15 years? Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, the first story is a nice little story when the turtles were younger, and we see them finding like an underground map, and they're like, oh, we wanna go exploring, we wanna find out where this leads us. So they go deep underground under New York City into some caves, and that's pretty much the main part of the story. Like these younger turtles, they're trying to find out what's under New York City, and they're like traveling these caves and so on and so forth until they run into an underground civilization of worm people. Like they're like this half human, half worm creatures, and as it usually is, they start fighting because like, oh, you're bad guys, no, you're the bad guys, and then they fight until Donatello is the smart one, like, hey, come on, nobody's the bad guy here, we can chill. And Donatello realizes that they are these worm creatures. They are very sick because the water is polluted where they live, and so Donatello builds them some filters that will help them with the drinking water. And it's very interesting because in the end it's like, okay, we help them, we hopefully save them, and Donatello's like, we will come back later to check on you. And Donatello, because Donatello is the narrator of the story, is like, but we never went back there, so we don't find out what's happening, what happened to this old civilization. And well, that's actually the end of that story. It was very interesting, gotta say. I mean, there was one big fight scene, but most of it was like, so the turtles just exploring the underground world, which can be very interesting.
Yeah, they live in the sewers. Why not? And again, like you say, this is, 20 years ago, 20 years after 1984, they had a little break, like you said. They're here in the early 2000s, back when things were still crazy, and some good bands too, man. You'll notice here in the next tale, there was a Tool band poster, and a really awesome. I want to know your thoughts on this epic Splinter fight we're about to dive into in number 9.
Oh yeah, that story, by the way, is called Seeds of Destruction, and as you said, it's a pretty much a Splinter focused story, because Splinter gets most of the story is that Splinter gets attacked by some mystic ninja master, and well, they fight on the astral plane, and it feels a little bit anime-like, because they're like on the astral plane, they can't be like everything, like they turn giant and they can shoot energy beams at each other, and it's really cool. I mean, we don't get to see Splinter that often being that active. He is a ninja master. When he fights, it's always awesome. And here this whole issue is about him as he fights this mysterious ninja mystical master, and it's really crazy. There's some really crazy stuff in there. The art is so cool. And well, Splinter in the end is able to defeat the guy, and we find out that some mysterious group sent this guy after Splinter to destroy him. We don't know who they are yet. We don't know where they come from, what they want. So there's like this mystery. Why did this guy attack Splinter? But most of the story is like this big a fight on the astral plane, like this mystical power fight. It's just cool. Splinter in action, just flying around, shooting energy beams and stuff like that. I'm all for that.
Oh yeah, no, it's always good to see Splinter. I never get tired of him because he was used very well in the 2003 series. 87, he really didn't have too many fights, but it's always nice to see Splinter get some action, and it's always like, where is this going to go? Especially in the comics that you encouraged me to read with the Rat King in our earlier series. Oh my gosh! So Glad you enjoyed that epic fight as well. Coming in at number 10, this is just really just shocking with how Leo treats Shredder here.
Yeah, so the next two issues, I gotta say, because we can, I think we can put it together. It's Worms of Madness. It's a two-parter. Tales of TMT number 3 and number 4 of volume 2. In this story, we at first remember the part when in Return to New York, Leonardo decapitates Shredder, kills him for the last time, and then they burn his body on the river. But here we find out that his head fell into the river, and because of some, once again, mystic magic stuff that some foot mystic was doing in the background, and the head of Shredder was eaten by a shark. There was like this fusion between the shark and the Shredder, and he became the Shark Shredder, giant Shark Shredder creature. It's like, I live again! And he immediately attacks the turtles, fights the turtles, kidnaps Splinter, and during this fight, the turtles get some mystic slime or something on them, which switches around the personalities. It's really crazy. Like Michelangelo suddenly is totally serious, while Leonardo is totally goofy, and they have to find a way, because in this state they cannot save Splinter. So they have to find a way to undo this mystical, magical stuff. And this is the part where it gets really crazy, because the turtles find a way to contact a giant space monkey. I'm not kidding here. Who is like this mystical, super powerful being who is able to transform the turtles back into the normal turtle selves. And so like Leonardo is now the leader again, Donatello is the smart one again, so everything is back to normal. Now they can confront the Shark Shredder. They fight him and save Splinter. In the end, it seems like they are able to defeat him, and but at the last page we see that somehow the Shark Shredder and the Mystic Ninja, they like fused and became one being, and who knows what's gonna happen next with them. It's craziness. This is a return of Shredder that I did not expect back then, but it's really crazy. I like Shark Shredder. How about you?
Yeah, I thought he was cool, and just Leonardo leaves Shredder to burn in hell. It's just like, my goodness, this is not our average Turtles here. But again, it was different times, early 2000s. You know, everybody was tired of the happy, goofy Ninja Turtles. The 2003 show took off very well, so I think that kind of played a role into the 2004 comics. I could be wrong, but I think that kind of, inspired them to, get a little edgier, a little darker, a little more, especially with Peter Laird setting the tone in that cartoon show. It would have been cool actually to get it. Now, we never got a Shark Shredder action figure, but we did have those cool Dino Shredders way back when that are very valuable now. If you remember those turtle toys in like 96, 97. Yeah, it's funny because all my buddies, when we were trying to collect those toys, they could never find like the flap because his jaw was always missing for some reason. It was a hard piece to find. But feel free to take us down to the next one here.
Oh, the next one is a special one. Tales of the TMNT number 5, called Blind Faith. And this is one of these comics that I really say check it out for yourself if you can, because of the art. Because in this story, Leonardo gets poisoned by some foot ninja who attacks him, and this turns Leonardo blind. He cannot see anymore, and it reflects on the pages because everything is just, black and white, but it's just like things are shown in all white, so there are no details or anything. It's like you cannot see this. And to like show how Leonardo feels, that he cannot see that much. He's like, you only see like a silhouette of something. And the whole comic is like this. It's really, really unusual and really interesting. So the whole thing is that Leonardo now, as I said, is poisoned. He's blind. He fights the foot ninja. He tries to regain his senses, and through the whole issue, Leonardo is blind, but still he tries to stop the foot ninja, who's like, I will get my revenge on you turtles for everything you did to the Foot Clan and so on and so forth. And in the end, it seems like Leonardo found the foot ninja and stabs him, kills him, but then it turns out apparently that it was a trick by the foot ninja, that Leonardo did not stab him, but an innocent bystander. Like just some guy that was standing there who Leonardo thought was the foot ninja. And this was the ultimate revenge for the foot ninja. And this is where the story ends. Really, this is like not, whoa, damn, what a happy end. No, it's a really dark ending there. This comic is, in my opinion, really great. Really, it's like the art is so unusual, and the whole story, even though most of it is fighting, Leonardo going after the foot ninja, but just the ending is like, whoa, that's really dark. That's really, I gotta put down this comic for a moment. It's tough.
Yeah, that's what I was telling our listeners here on YouTube or Spotify to buckle up because, yeah, Leonardo kills. I had that in all caps. I wanted to see how you delivered it to the audience. I was like, my God, it almost feels like you're in like a Beatles music video or something. How they're just like, if you ever saw an old cartoon Yellow Submarine where they have Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, like almost like an LSD trip, how he was all drugged. And I don't know how they can do that for a kid's show, but can you imagine if this was actually a cartoon either in the 2003 or 2012? Oh man, I would go for. I don't know how they would have gotten away with the killing, but I hope maybe one day. Again, it's maybe one day we can get our hopes and actually get this in a animation type form. I would love it. I had a great time reading that one too.
Oh yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
And now here comes one of my favorite, just a very well written story here with the next one.
Oh yeah, once again, gotta agree with you there. Tales of the TMNT number 6, it's called Scars. In this story, we meet a new character called Chaocho, and we find his backstory, that he was a normal guy, he had a wife, he was living a happy life, but then some mugger shot his wife by accident, killed her, and this was the moment when Chaocho was after revenge. He wanted to get revenge on the robber who took his wife from him, and for this, to find out who this guy was, he even joined the Foot Clan. To like become a ninja, to sneak like into the police building to get all the information that he could and stuff like this. And then this was when he ran into Leonardo, like, evil foot ninja, stop it. But Leonardo found out like what Chaocho was after, that he was not really a bad guy. And Leonardo started helping him to find the robber, which in the end they did. And the robber, he was really just a broken man. He was a broken man after everything that happened. He did not want to kill his wife. It was an accident. When Chaocho found him, he was like, "Please forgive me. It was an accident. I did not want it. I see this scene before my eyes every day. It breaks me." And Leonardo is like, "Hey, you see this guy, he is finished." But Chaocho is like, no, he is not, and he kills him. He really kills him, and Leonardo is like, this is not what we are here for, this is not what we should do. And they two, Leonardo and Chaocho, they start fighting, and in the end, Leonardo defeats Chaocho and uses his own knife to cut him across the face, like give him a scar to remind him of all that he did. And well, that's the end of that story. And yeah, this is once again, really interesting story. Like, is revenge really worth all of this? It's really, once again, it's a really dark story if you think about it. And yeah, this is some of this TMNT comic stuff that I'm so into. Like, okay, we can go a little darker. It doesn't always have to be like, oh, happy end. In the end, the bad guys are defeated, everything's fine. Because life is not like that. Sometimes it only gets worse.
Yeah. It's more of that, obviously, again, they're Ninja Turtles, but, it kind of, just we can kind of compare this to what my cousin always said. It was why he always loves those Christian Bale, Dark Knight, the Dark Knight trilogy, and that Dark Knight movie with the Joker, because you could kind of see that happening to a degree, in like real life, and that's what more of this was. Just anger gets the best of somebody, you fall in love, your emotions take over you, you think you're doing the right thing, but you're not, and just, again, just how dark and great. This is something, I guess, unfortunately, that a lot of people don't know, which is why, again, I've been blessed you've been helping us out on Shellonomics here to get myself and others a Shellonomics education on Turtles, because people, I guarantee a lot of fans have not read these and they're missing out. And like you said, you can get this. We're not getting any money for this. I think I got to say as a disclaimer, but, if you check out Comixology, if you don't want to, buy them right away just to read them for yourself, you can try it on Amazon. I think for just a couple bucks a month, you'll really enjoy it, especially if you're a Leonardo fan. He gets the spotlight in these early issues for sure. So we still got a couple more to go here, my friend. Feel free to take it away on the next one.
Alrighty, it's Tales of the TMNT number 7, which is called Darkness Weaves. And here we meet teenager Shadow. If you remember, Shadow was the adopted daughter of Casey Jones. And in this story, she's a teenager. And she's like pretty much obsessed with this singer called Lilith, who is like this, singer. And she wants to sneak out to see her live on stage. And she meets up with her friend and they go to this concert. But Raphael is following them there to see it for himself, like take care of Shadow so that she doesn't get into trouble. But of course, it's trouble because, as it turns out, like Lilith is a werewolf and she's turning these kids at the concert into werewolves too. It almost happens to Shadow, but it actually happens to her friend, who turns into a werewolf. So Raph jumps in and together with Shadow, they fight these werewolves. And unfortunately, during this fight, as Shadow is using one of Raphael's scythes, she accidentally stabs and kills her friend who was turned into a werewolf. She did not know that it was her, but it happened, and then she turned back as she died, so she knew that it was her. But the werewolves, Lilith, they leave, and we're gonna fight another day, and the story ends with Shadow together with Splinter going to Northampton to hide there so that the werewolves won't find her there. So it's pretty much the end of that story. It's werewolves, because we did not have that yet in the TMNT in this TMNT universe. Yeah,
and they try to make it realistic too. I believe it was a Sarah McLachlan concert too, the "I Will Remember You" song from way back when. So I like how these guys, I don't know if they were listening to this music while they were, writing these stories. Like we said, we've seen Metallica, we've seen Tool references. Now we got Sarah McLachlan. So the hits just keep on coming. So, we've got, I believe, just not many more left, but this next one I just wanted to point out was great artwork. The next one you're about to take us to.
Yeah, Tales of the TMNT number 8, which was called Virus. And I gotta agree, it was drawn by Dan Berger, which is such a great artist, and was one of my favorite Mirage artists, I gotta say, even though all of them are great, but I always liked his style. In this story, the turtles, they get attacked by this mysterious female ninja, and they don't know who she is, what does she want, and she attacks the turtles one by one and steals their like parts of their headbands. And why does she do this? unsure. Raphael is able to follow her, and he goes after her, but she's able to get away from the turtles, get away from Raphael. Is she in the sewers? But unfortunately, Raphael runs into Leatherhead there. So yeah, Leatherhead is back, and he is kind of weird here because he's got these mood swings. He gets really aggressive. He attacks Raphael at first. Later on, it's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. It's like I have this bursts of rage that happened to me. And he's like trying to build a transmat to once again get back to the Utroms. And suddenly, like some Utroms beam in onto the transmat. They take Leatherhead with them. They disappear, like they pop in, like, hi, we take Leatherhead, boop, and they're gone, and leaving the turtles behind, like, what just happened? I don't know. And so it feels pretty much like the start of a bigger story, because first off, we got this mysterious ninja. We don't know much about her. Then we got the Leatherhead story, like, okay, Leatherhead is now gone. What happens to him? And this is where the story leaves us. Like, okay, where's the continuation? We're getting there later on in this tale stories, but when you're just reading this comic, it's like, okay, this is like part one of, I don't know, what happens next. But yeah, as you said, the art is cool. It's like a cool setup for what happens next. But yeah, it's as I said, it's really cool. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to end this episode here, because that finishes off the Tales of the TMNT Omnibus Volume 1. We have a long way to go, thanks to our good friend Christian here. We've got a lot more to break down for you guys in the weeks to come, but Christian, I've been told you have a very exciting new podcast. We're recording this September 24th, 2025. I believe you have some exciting news on your channel. If anybody's a fan of the original Ninja Turtles movie, what a special guest you got coming on over there.
Oh, that's exactly right. Because, as you said, this is September 24, and the next day, September 25th, I will put out my next podcast episode, where I have a very, very special guest. I have the original Bubblegum Girl as an interview partner on there. If you remember from the classic TMNT movie in 1990, there's the scene at the Foot Clan headquarters, and there's this young woman popping a bubble gum. She's on the scene for just a few moments, but she left such an impression, and I was able to talk to her. And yeah, I mean, you also were already able to have a short interview with her, Mike, as I remember. That was really a good one. Gotta plug that also there. So yeah, check it out. So if you're listening to this on September 24th, next day, check out my podcast. Let's do it. TMNT The Talk. Check it out on, Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you're listening to podcasts.
Always. She just had so much swag in there for a little kid, too. I think she said she was around 12 years old, but she had so much swag for the girl, just walking around like a true boss, owning it in that whole scene. And then even at the end, when she walks away in the movie, just when they put her in cuffs and she's walking away, you can just get that, just powerful energy she had. And she's such a giver. So very excited.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to hearing that interview with you and her as well tomorrow. So guys, that's going to do it. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Right, my good man? Sometime next week we'll break down another half a dozen or whatnot. We've got a lot more issues to come, and I'm looking forward to reading these, dude. I wonder how much darker it can actually get.
Oh yeah, hey, we've got so much more tale stories because, hey, as the comic says, let me tell you a story. So we should definitely do that.
Another episode of Shellonomics is in the books. If you guys have not yet checked out all of our other amazing episodes, we've had amazing guests. We've talked about the 1987 cartoon, 2003 cartoon, Next Mutation, Coming Out of Their Shells, video games, the comics, crossover comics like Batman and the Power Rangers, and tons of amazing content with you guys, the fans. Be sure to stop by our YouTube channel, Spotify, and Twitch. And if you have somebody who'd like to be on the show, get in touch with us at kingmiketus@gmail.com. That's KINGMIKEDUS das@gmail.com.